Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the news tonight, where we get you the day's top stories from India and across the world. Today, the top story, one of the top stories, in fact, emerging from the northeast of India in Manipur, where at least 20 army men were killed. We'll get you details of that in a bit. But first, the headlines. At least 20 army jawans are killed in an ambush by unidentified groups in Manipur, a day after a shutdown over the alleged killing of a woman by the Assam Rifles. China virtually rejects Prime Minister Modi's proposal to clarify positions on the line of actual control, calls for a code of conduct deal to maintain peace at the border. More states put Nestle's Maggi off the shelves as the centre promises action against those found responsible if samples are found unsafe for consumption. JDU President Sharad Yadav says his party will tie up with the RJD and the Congress for Bihar polls, a day after Lalu Prasad's aide meets Chief Minister Nitish Kumar. And Ukraine warns of a Russian invasion after fresh clashes with rebels erupt in the east. At least 5 soldiers killed as Germany and France urge ceasefire. Our top story, China has virtually rejected Prime Minister Narendra Modi's proposal to clarify positions on the line of actual control. Beijing prefers an agreement with India on the code of conduct to maintain peace along the border. During his visit to China last month, Modi had pushed his Chinese counterpart to resolve the dispute without compromising the status quo.
China prefers a pact with India on a code of conduct to maintain peace along the border rather than clarification of line of actual control proposed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi during his visit last month. Outlining China's first public reaction to the proposal, Deputy Director General of Asian Affairs at the Foreign Ministry said attempts to clarify mutual positions on the LAC had encountered difficulties in the past. Speaking on the outcome of Modi's visit, Huang Shilian said that China will not entertain any issues that poses as a stumbling block to move forward. In the past, the two sides have held 18 rounds of special representative talks to resolve the issue. While China claims the border dispute is limited to around 2,000 kilometers, mostly in Arunachal Pradesh, India claims it is spread over 4,000 kilometers, especially in the Aksai Chin area. China also defended the $46 billion economic corridor through Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, despite India's objections to it. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had raised the issue during his visit.
जब प्रधानमंत्री वहां गए, तब उन्होंने इस बात को बहुत दृढ़ता से कहा और इस मुद्दे को बहुत मजबूती से उठाया कि ये जो आपने चाइना पाकिस्तान इकोनॉमिक कॉरिडोर की बात की है और उसमें भी खासतौर पे पीओके में जाने की बात की है, ये हमें स्वीकार नहीं है। जहां तक साउथ चाइना सी की बात आप कर रहे हैं, साउथ चाइना सी में जो हमारी कमर्शियल एक्टिविटी है ऑयल ड्रिलिंग की, वो इंटरनेशनल लॉ से कंपैटिबल है।
China has also opposed to India's oil exploration in the South China Sea because it is a disputed area. Vietnam recently awarded oil exploration contracts to ONGC, which was opposed by Beijing. China claims sovereignty over almost all of the South China Sea and Vietnam. The Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei and Taiwan object to that. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
And now an all-out offensive has been launched by paramilitary forces after 20 armymen were massacred in Chandel district of Manipur today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi condemned the attack, calling it mindless and very distressing. According to sources, a mixed group of militants are suspected to be behind the attack. A high-level meeting was convened, including the Defence Minister in Delhi.
20 army men were killed and 16 others were injured when militants ambushed their convoy in Manipur's Chandel district on Thursday morning. The convoy of 6th Dogra Regiment was on its way to Imphal when it was attacked by unidentified group of terrorists who triggered a powerful IED blast. The insurgents also resorted to heavy firing with RPGs and automatic weapons. Prime Minister Narendra Modi condemned the attack as mindless and very distressing.
इस ट्रेजेडी को हम लोग बहुत गंभीर से लिया है क्योंकि हमारे इतने 20 जवानों की जानें चले गए हैं। हम लोग उम्मीद करते थे कि शांति बहाल होगा, लेकिन कुछ लोग शांति नहीं लाना चाहता है, तो इस तरह का घटना हो रहा है। मैं सबसे पहले तो अपने जितने बहादुर सिपाही जितने भी मारे गए हैं, सब उनके प्रति और उनके परिवार सबको श्रद्धांजलि में देना चाहता हूं।
Leaders cutting across party lines condemned the attack. Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi also offered his condolences to the families of the martyrs. Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar also condemned the attack and assured action against those responsible. He, along with Army Chief Dalbir Singh Suhag and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, met with Home Minister Rajnath Singh to discuss the matter.
कैजुअलनेस दिखाई होगी, नहीं तो जो हमारे स्टैंडिंग ऑपरेटिंग प्रोसीजर्स हैं और जिस माफिक फौज कार्रवाई करती है, इतनी बड़ी तादाद में हताहत लोग होना नामुमकिन है. तो इट इज स्ट्रेंज, क्योंकि जानते हैं हम कि वो इलाके जटिल हैं, वो इलाकों में इस माफिक की कार्रवाई हो सकती है, उसके बावजूद वो सक्सेस हासिल करें इज समथिंग दैट इज एस्टॉनिशिंग.
An all-out offensive has been launched to trace the militants involved in the massacre. The Indo-Myanmar border in Manipur has been closed. The government has also directed all installations of the security forces in Manipur and Nagaland to be put on high alert. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
For more on this, let's speak to Prakash Singh, who is the former DGP of Assam, joining us now from the capital. So this is the third attack of such nature that we are seeing in the past 3 months. This, of course, being the worst of its kind. Give us a sense, really, of the kind of RGPs used, the kind of machinery, the artillery that was used. What do you suspect? Which kind of groups perhaps could be responsible for this attack? Can you hear me, sir? Or I will try and establish that link again. Meanwhile, we are giving you these visuals that the news agency ANI has just released of the attack that took place at 8:30 this morning in Chandel district in Manipur. This is the southernmost district of the northeastern state, which of course borders Myanmar. There are of course a lot of at this point there's suspicion that perhaps a newly formed group, which of course met in Myanmar, a newly formed group of various northeast militant groups may be responsible for this particular attack. 20 army men were killed in this brazen attack and about 11 injured grievously. We are yet to of course get information on how were the nature of those attacks and who exactly is responsible. The Home Ministry yet to give a clarification on that. But if we can establish our link again with Prakash Singh, former DGP of Assam. Sir, if you can hear me, give us a sense really of what you feel as far as the RGPs use, as far as the artillery use, what kind of groups could be responsible?
You see, it is difficult to say which group was responsible. People are making their guess. Somebody says the Kaplan group is responsible, somebody says the PLA is responsible, somebody says NSA and IM is responsible. I think we should wait for the investigations to set in and let them identify which particular group was responsible. But that is not so important. The important thing is, why have things come to such a pass that such a major incident happens? You see, we have to look at the problems of Manipur in totality, in the context of the overall situation in the northeast as a whole. And I mean, whatever statistics I'm aware of, in 2014, there was an 80% increase in the number of violent incidents in the northeast as a whole. Not that there was a very substantial increase in Manipur. The level of violence was about the same. But overall, the northeast, the situation is something to worry about. Now, coming to Manipur in particular, there are a number of serious problems. The most serious problem there is of governance. Governance is very, very poor in Manipur. In fact, some years back, the media had started writing that Manipur is a failed state. Well, Manipur is now back on rails, and the state can't be called a failed state, but the fact remains that there are very serious issues of governance. Secondly, repeatedly we hear of the politicians' nexus with the terrorist groups. Yes. I mean, they are running with the hare and hunting with the hound. Some years back, there were credible allegations that the Chief Minister himself had passed a very handsome amount of money, about 15 million rupees, to the terrorist groups. So, I mean, this nexus between the politicians and the terrorist group, this is another serious problem. Then I would say, I think time has come when government should give serious thought to how the Myanmar border is to be guarded.
Yes.
You see, the Myanmar border is just unguarded. I mean, the Assam Rifles is responsible for patrolling or guarding the Myanmar border. It's mind you, Assam Rifles is an excellent force, but
Yes.
their ethos and their work culture is altogether different. They don't patrol the borders. They stay away from the border where they establish their camps, and then the force is most of the time doing counter-insurgency work, and in the process, incidentally, border gets whatever security they are able to extend. What you need is this border. You see, with Bangladesh, we had very serious problems until a few years back, but now that those problems have substantially eased.
Yes.
Thanks to the cooperation we have been getting from the Bangladesh government. Bangladesh government forced a number of people to surrender to the Indian army. They forced they arrested certain people and handed them over to the Indian authorities.
Yes.
Now, so that problem has eased, but Myanmar, but now that this the terrorist groups are not getting sanctuaries in Bangladesh, they seem to have shifted to across Myanmar.
Yes,
so
the newly floated group, in fact, we did get reports that they did meet in Myanmar. Very quickly also, sir, if you could give us we have to talk about this, the AFSPA debate in Tripura. After they removed it from Tripura, there was perhaps a little bit of hope that perhaps in the other northeastern states, this perhaps could be a move. But after this attack particularly, quite a setback to the AFSPA,
I can't hear you.
those against
There's
it.
a problem with that. I can't hear you.
All
There is
right.
no audio, I'm sorry.
All right, Mr. Prakash Singh, thank you so much for joining us, giving us your perspective really as somebody who has, of course, worked in Assam and also the northeast states, giving us an idea really of what are the problems that are, facing the people of Manipur at this point of time. One, of course, being of the lack of governance, and of course the importance of perhaps these insurgent groups, the importance that are given not just by the locals but the government there as well. These, of course, are visuals of the attack that took place this morning. News agency ANI there giving us these visuals. This is the attack that took place where 20 army men were killed, 11 injured. All right, heading on to more news now. After Kerala and Delhi, Tamil Nadu, Uttarakhand and Gujarat became the latest states to ban Maggi. Other states might follow suit once they receive results of further tests. Nestle India has gone on a PR overdrive on its website but is yet to make a formal public statement. Meanwhile, in very good news for consumers, other brands of snacks are also being sent for random safety checks.
Gujarat and Uttarakhand are the latest states to ban the sale of Maggi, signs of a deepening crisis for the noodles manufacturer Nestle India.
हमने और भी सैंपल लिए, लेकिन जैसे जैसे सैंपल की टेस्टिंग रिपोर्ट आएगी, किसी भी कंपनी का हो, किसी भी चीज का हो, वो हम बड़े पैमाने पर हमेशा करते हैं। इस प्रकार से अभी टेस्ट कर रहे हैं, तो आज जो टेस्ट रिपोर्ट आए हैं वो सभी ईमेल के द्वारा भारत सरकार के डिपार्टमेंट को भी भेजेंगे।
On Thursday, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh also began inspection and sample collection of Maggi from markets across the states. But their target is not Maggi alone. Similar products will also undergo random testing.
Why isolate Nestle? Pick up the samples for other manufacturers also, so that you have a clarity on it, because whether it comes from A company or B company, it's a food product and that is consumed. So here we are concerned about the safety of the food product, and they must draw samples from others as well.
13,000 कार्टून जो है मैगी के विभिन्न ब्रांडों के पड़े हुए हैं। हम इनको जब तक स्थिति क्लियर न हो जाए, चूंकि पूरे प्रदेश भर में हमारी जांच चल रही है, 12-15 नमूने इकट्ठे हो गए और इकट्ठे किए जा रहे हैं, तो जब तक स्थिति क्लियर न हो जाए हम इनको उस सामान को सीज कर रहे हैं और इनको इंस्ट्रक्शन दे रहे हैं कि उसको सामान को स्थिति क्लियर होते तक हमारे अगले निर्देश तक बाजार में न विक्रय किया जाए।
Meanwhile, Consumer Affairs Minister Ramvilas Paswan has said action against the product and people endorsing it will be taken if samples are found unsafe for consumption.
हमने जो है और NCDCRC को भेज दिया है कि आप इस पर तत्काल क्या कहते हैं कि जांच करके कार्रवाई करने का काम करो। जो डिपार्टमेंट है उसका हेल्थ मिनिस्ट्री का है और सारे के सारे रिलेटेड हैं स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से।
Noodles has 9 variants. If the problem is seen more in case of one variant, then you can confine your action to one variant. I have requested them that you should have your own plans. and every month look at it, okay, this time we should take these samples, this time we should take this sample, this time we should take, so that as a part of the plan you keep on doing those and so.
Despite the raging controversy, Nestle India is maintaining a stoic silence on the issue. The company says it hasn't yet been asked to withdraw the product from the market. The company also maintains that it is convinced about the safety of Maggi and is working to resolve the matter with the central and state governments. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, amid speculation over the Janata Parivar merger ahead of the Bihar polls, JDU President Sharad Yadav said that his party will contest in alliance with the RJD and the Congress. The remarks come a day after a meeting between RJD Chief Lalu Prasad's aide and Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar. However, Sharad Yadav chose not to comment on the tussle over who should be the CM candidate.
कोई गलतफहमी में न रहे, गलतफहमी न पाले कि गठबंधन हम लोग नहीं चाहते या विलय नहीं चाहते हैं। हम सब लोगों में और नीतीश कुमार में और उनके पार्टी के नेताओं में हम लोग में कोई मतभेद नहीं है।
3 days after the RJD chief gave hints that all is well between his party and the JDU, Sharad Yadav has come out and said that the two parties will contest the forthcoming Bihar Assembly polls as allies.
देश में वोट का बंटवारा हुआ, बिहार में जो हुआ, इसलिए ये मर्जर हमने घोषित किया है। यदि उसमें कोई दिक्कत आएगी तो गठबंधन होना चाहिए, इसी में प्रयास करेंगे।
On Wednesday, RJD chief's AD met Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar amid a war of words over who should be the chief ministerial candidate for the alliance. Sharad Yadav claims the speculations over the alliance were untrue, but he refused to comment on whether there was any understanding between the two parties on deciding a name for the top job before the polls. Meanwhile, the BJP claims the expected merger will not affect its poll prospects.
मिलने का नाटक करते हैं, फिर टूटते हैं, फिर मिलते हैं। क्या करेंगे इनको मालूम है, मुझे उसके बारे में टिप्पणी नहीं करना। लेकिन मैंने कहा है कि मिलें, टूटें, विलय करें, गठबंधन करें, कोई फर्क बिहार की जनता पर इसका नहीं पड़ने वाला है। इनका जाना तय है, बिहार में एनडीए की सरकार बनना भी तय है।
हमको कोई नया गठबंधन नहीं करना, गठबंधन उनको करना है। हमारे साथ तो रामविलास पासवान जी की लोक जनशक्ति पार्टी और राष्ट्रीय लोक समता पार्टी हमारे गठबंधन में शामिल है। हम तीनों मिलकर चुनाव लड़ेंगे। अब कौन सामने आता उनको तय करना है, मिलकर लड़े, अलग अलग लड़े, झगड़ के लड़े, जैसे लड़ता हूँ लड़े।
The Janata Parivar was formed in order to come up as a strong alternative to the BJP in Bihar. According to the JDU president, a final decision on the alliance will be made soon. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's get you some more news updates from across the country and nationwide. The benchmark BSE Sensex ended Thursday's session marginally lower at 24 points at 26,813. Nifty settled 3 points higher at 8,138. Earlier in the day, Sensex fell as much as 285 points and Nifty fell below its crucial psychological level of 8,100 on the back of a broad-based selling pressure. The government will conduct a third round of coal auctions in August from the 11th to the 17th. The auction of 10 coal mines will be conducted on the lines of the previous two rounds, except that multiple bids of a single entity will now be treated as one this time. The notice for the auction will be issued on the 8th of June. The BJP today demanded a probe on arms dealer Abhishek Verma's claim that Congress leader Jagdish Taitla had received a clean chit in the 1984 anti-Sikh riots case after he met former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. Verma has also claimed that Taitla tried to influence a witness in the riots case. Tourists visiting the Taj Mahal will now be able to enjoy 30 minutes of free Wi-Fi usage starting the 16th of June. The free Wi-Fi project is part of the central government's Digital India initiative. It was mulled over in February after the BSNL made a presentation before the ASI. Fatehpur Sikri Fort is next in line to get the service. With a quick break here, up next, international news, and Greece hopes to strike a deal before time runs out to repay the IMF loans.
The great big Maggi row engulfs celebrity endorsers. How do endorsements work? And how liable are the brand's star showcasers? Watch The Big Picture at 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
welcome back. You're watching the news tonight. Now, President Pranab Mukherjee is in Belarus on a two-day visit to strengthen bilateral ties, voicing serious concerns over terrorism arising from India's neighborhood. The president said it is a security threat for all countries in the region. He also invited Belarusian investors to India in a bid to increase bilateral trade to $1 billion by the year 2020.
President Pranab Mukherjee met the Prime Minister of Belarus, Andrei Kobyakov, in Minsk. The meeting comes at a time when the two countries are in the process of finalizing a joint roadmap to expanding cooperation in several sectors including industry, information technology, education and culture.
Our common interests in the field of science and technology, our complementarities in the fields of information technology and engineering, our collaboration in energy and pharmaceutical, as well as our close cooperation in defense, have linked our country in a long-standing, fruitful partnership for mutual benefit.
Voicing serious concern over terrorism and extremism in India's neighborhood, the president called upon other countries to stand united against this menace.
We appreciate Belarus' support for India's permanent membership of United Nations Security Council and membership of the nuclear supply group.
The president also asserted that it was an opportune moment for Belarus companies to invest in India.
We are hopeful that we can double our trade to a level of $1 billion by the year 2020. India's decision to grant market economy status to Belarus will also be a significant step to enhance our bilateral trade.
The president also said that both governments are keen to intensify cooperation in quality control, quarantine, certification of goods and standardization to facilitate trade. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko has said that the military must be prepared to defend the country against a possible full-scale invasion from Russia. His remark comes amid a surge of violence in eastern Ukraine. 5 Ukrainian soldiers were reportedly killed by rebels with Russia's backing. Ukraine's military said the Russian-backed rebels had tried to advance using tanks and up to 1,000 fighters west of the main rebel stronghold of Donetsk in the most significant escalation of the conflict in around 3 months and in defiance of a ceasefire deal. Germany and France have called for that ceasefire, expressing concern over the recent clashes. However, the rebels have accused government troops of firing artillery at rebel territory around Donetsk, killing 15 people.
Минулу добу внаслідок активних бойових дій, провокацій ми втратили 5 наших воїнів і 38 отримали поранення. Найбільші втрати сили АТО понесли в боях під Мар'їнкою та Луганським.
Військовим бути готовим як до відновлення наступу ворога на Донбасі, так і до повномасштабного вторгнення по всьому периметру кордону з Російською Федерацією. Ми маємо бути реально готовими до цього.
Amid a looming debt crisis, Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras said that an agreement is in sight. His comments came amid ongoing talks in Brussels on Greece's debt crisis. However, Greece refused to bow down to demands from its European creditors. Greece has a €300 million IMF repayment due tomorrow.
Greece is one step closer to an amicable deal to resolve its debt crisis. Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras announced that they would make payment to the IMF soon, avoiding a default.
I believe that in a few days, the next days, we will be more close in an agreement.
Alexis Tsipras has drawn a plan of his own, calling on Eurozone partners to show some realism. However, with the time running out, the creditors have effectively come up with a take-it-or-leave-it offer. The primary budget surplus target, the amount by which tax revenues exceed public spending, has been a major sticking point for weeks.
The realistic proposals on the table are the proposals of the Greek government. We are very close in an agreement in the primary surpluses. That means that all the sides agreed to go further without the tough austerity measures of the past.
We made some progress yesterday night, not sufficient, but nevertheless
trying to put together the elements proposed by our Greek colleagues and friends.
Greece has to pay 300 million euros to IMF by Friday. Greece's current bailout agreement with the IMF, European Central Bank and European Commission will run out at the end of June. A failure to reach a deal could trigger a Greek default and a potential exit from the Eurozone. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Former Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak will face a retrial over the killing of protesters during the 2011 uprising. An Egyptian appeals court ordered the final trial after accepting an appeal against an earlier court ruling that dropped the case against Mubarak. The 87-year-old who ruled Egypt for 30 years has been in prison since his arrest in 2011. He has since been the subject of multiple legal cases since then. Mubarak had been convicted of conspiracy to kill in June 2012, but a retrial was ordered the following year, with the charges being dropped later. The new trial will begin on the 5th of November. And let's get you more international news in Global Buzz. More than 90 people have died in a fire at a petrol station in Ghana's capital, Accra. The fire started even as people in the city were trying to cope with 2 days of heavy rain. According to officials, the blast was caused by a fire that erupted in a nearby lorry terminal late in the night, which then spread to the gas station and other buildings. There are fears that the death toll could rise as the search for bodies continues. Turkey's general election seems likely to push Tayyip Erdogan's dream of an all-powerful presidency further from his reach. Barred by the constitution from party politics as head of state, Erdogan has nonetheless campaigned across Turkey before the 7th of June parliamentary vote. Hong Kong held its annual candlelight vigil to commemorate the anniversary of China's 1989 crackdown on pro-democracy protesters in Tiananmen Square. Security was also tightened at the area. More than 25 years ago, students and workers flooded into central Beijing to vent their anger against corruption, economic mismanagement, nepotism and poor career prospects for students. And now let's change tracks and get you the latest from the world of sports. Saina Nehwal breezed past Chinese Taipei's Su Yaqing, while P. Kashyap stunned world number 5 Son Wan-ho in straight games, reaching the quarterfinals of the Indonesian Open Super Series badminton tournament. However, K. Srikanth bowed out after going down in 3 sets to Jinting Anthony of Indonesia. Saina will now meet China's Xixian Wang, while Kashyap will face top-seeded Chen Long. Former top FIFA official Chuck Blazer admitted to accepting bribes in connection with the choice of South Africa as 2010 World Cup host. The 70-year-old said he also facilitated bribes over the 1998 version held in France. However, former FIFA Vice President Jack Warner said that he did not take bribes and is ready to tell investigators all he knows about corruption within the governing body. FBI is investigating the awarding of World Cup bids for 2018 and 2022 to Russia and Qatar respectively. Lucy Safarova defeated Anna Ivanovic in straight sets to reach her first Grand Slam final at the French Open. World number 13 defeated her Serbian opponent 7-5, 7-5 after being 3-5 down in the first set. She will play the winner of the second semi-final between world number 1 Serena Williams and Taimia Baksimski. South African batsman A.B. de Villiers was voted the Cricketer of the Year for the second successive season at a function hosted by Cricket South Africa. The 27-year-old collected a total of 5 awards, including the Best ODI Players and Supporters Cricketer of the Year award. De Villiers is ranked number 1 in the ODIs and number 2 in Test cricket. That's all we could pack in on the news tonight from the entire team here. Good night.